Hi, everyone. My name is Amy McInerney, and I'm an MLTI ambassador as part of the Learning Through Technology team. Thanks for joining me during this PD session. We're going to be exploring a crash course in Canva. This session is intended to explore the very basic skills needed to get started in Canva. At the end, I've carved out some time for you to have some creation time where you'll be able to apply these skills to something that you can use in your classroom later today or even tomorrow. If you have any questions or need any support during or after viewing this, please feel free to reach out to me or my teammate, Stephanie Magruder. Our email addresses are at the bottom of this slideshow. We'd be happy to help you at any time. Here's our proposed agenda for this PD session. And I like to say proposed because this is your time for professional development. You can explore any of the things that I present to you today, and feel free to pause this video at any point to dive deeper into anything. First, we'll get started on Canva. Then we're going to take a look at the Canva homepage. We'll explore what the Canva editor is and break down what's what on that page. Then we've carved out some time for a getting started tutorial. This will walk you through the basic skills that you need to edit something in Canva. At the end, we've carved out some creation time so you can get started creating your own presentation. And then we'll bring it all together with our wrap up. Let's get started. So what is Canva? Chances are you've seen Canva used in other presentations, in other classrooms, and maybe even in commercials on television. Canva is a one-stop shop for everything that you need for creation for your classroom. There are dozens of different things that you can create, but we've chosen to highlight some that are very useful for teachers. You can create presentations, slideshows, charts, graphs. You can create posters for your classroom, anchor charts, flyers, brochures, postcards. You can even create classroom newsletters, videos to share photos from your classroom to parents and caregivers. You can create GIFs, and you can even create social media posts. Here's a very impartial list. This is not everything you can create, but just some of the more important ones for educators. Infographics are fun to create with your students. Photo books are a fun way to share and are great ways to share celebrations of learning. You can find or create worksheets that you can print off and give to your students. You and your students can create videos, and you can create certificates and calendars, badges, and gifts. The possibilities are endless. So to get started, I'm going to invite you to open up two different pages on your computer. Please go to this presentation, and you may want to bookmark it to come back to. And then I'm going to invite you to open up canva.com. You'll have to log into Canva if this is your first time. Now, you want to make sure that you're verified. If your school district already has a school-wide Canva plan, chances are you will have already been uploaded into that, and you might be able to use your single sign-on credentials for that. If, however, you are logging in for the first time, you'll want to make sure that you are verified. I'm going to back out of this, make this a little bit smaller so that we can see this. So when I head over to Canva, you can see which team you're on here. And if you have an education account, that means that you've been verified. If you see a personal account or a free account, that means that you will have to get verified. Now, it's really easy to do that. Easy enough that you could do Canva educator verification, and the first search result will pop up. So eligibility guidelines, Canva for education. You can read through there, and then right up here, that purple button, get verified, you have to enter your email address and maybe go through a couple of other steps and you're verified. Becoming verified means that you are unlocking all of those pro tools and you have access to so many more features in Canva. So it's definitely something that you want to check out if you are not verified. Okay. So once you're verified, you will land on the home page. And this is your dashboard for getting started. I'm going to open up Canva. Your landing page is really where you are going to get started. First, though, I want you to make sure that you are in the correct team. So clicking up here, you may have joined different classrooms, you may have joined different school districts. You can narrow down where you are. So if you create something in one team, it will not automatically transfer over to other teams that you're on. This is helpful to know because if you create something on one team and can't locate it the next day, make sure that you're using that drop-down menu up there and ensuring that you are on the correct team. That can get confusing for adults and students, so I always like to point that out. From this page, you can take a look at the different options for creation that you have. They tend to list the most popular ones up top, but you can also click on more and see what other designs you can create. So popular, office and business, marketing and promotion. Scrolling through, you have photos and videos, education on the left-hand side, docs, whiteboards, presentations, social media, videos. So choose one that works for you. If you don't happen to find what you're looking for, you can click on custom size and actually create a document that fits your needs. You can also upload PDFs and edit those right in Canva by clicking on upload. That's a great tool to use if you're trying to edit a worksheet or something else that you've already created. I'm going to click into presentation. And we're going to hang on to that for later. Actually going to click back. This is also a really wonderful place for you to search templates. So templates are things that have already been created by other educators. And somebody that I worked with described Canva as kind of a Pinterest for educators. You could really spend hours going through everything on there, and you can star your favorites and come back to them later. So let's say I'm teaching a third grade ELA lesson on mysteries. I can simply type that in and materials that are related to that will pop up. So here are my designs, Canva templates, so third grade. So not quite what I'm looking for, third grade reading comprehension. Let's take out, maybe my search was too specific. I should know that as a librarian. So scrolling down, there we go. Kind of the same, but some things that I can work with here. So I have some slideshows that I can work with. English, I have some worksheets that I can work from. So these are definitely jumping off points. Now, if I wanted to do a worksheet on division, I could type that in. And here are some lessons and some worksheets that have been developed by other educators and uploaded to share. What's beautiful about these is you can click on them. You can click on customize this template and it actually opens it up and allows you to customize it further so that it meets the needs of your class. So once it loads, you'll be able to see how this is editable. The tricky word to say, editable. And you can change those around. And then once you're done, you can print them. So what's great too is you don't even have to make changes to some of these. They're just kind of grab and go. So be sure to check that templates out. If you find some that you like, you can always star them and that drops that into your dashboard so that you can return to them later. So really, really great resource for us to use as educators. Very big time-saving piece too. Okay, so moving forward, now that we have kind of explored that landing page, I'm going to stay right in this page so that you can see the header, the object panel, the toolbar, and the footer. So the header is across the top. I'm going to move my face. So up here we have file, resize, editing. You have where you can rename your presentation or your worksheet. So always a good idea when you're saving that. Here's the undo button. So if I don't like a change that I just made, the undo button is a lifesaver. One of my favorite buttons in Canva, so make sure that you see that. Across the top, we have some analytics. So once I share this, I can see how many people have viewed this, helpful if you assign something to your students or you send out a newsletter and you want to see how many families are receiving that. We also have the present button since this is in a slideshow. That's how I'm going to present it. And then the share button, which we're going to cover in greater detail later. Along the left-hand side, we have our object panel. So this is where all of our element creation tools are. So we have elements, text, uploads, draw, apps, and we're going to go through those in just a moment. This is just kind of a broad overview. Our toolbar is up across the top. And then we have our footer, which you can see down here. This is the slideshow presentation. I'm seeing all of these different items down in the bottom. Okay, so in addition to searching for templates in that main dashboard area, you can also search templates right in here. I'm actually going to grab this and drop it over. Let's say I had a blank slide for my presentation and I wanted to get started designing that, but maybe I'm not the best designer. Canva is amazing because it has so many design tools right in it. So it can create something professional looking without much effort. So one of those things that you can do to create that is by using the template tool. You want to click on design and you can narrow down what you're looking for, or you can kind of just scroll through and see what's available. So it's March here, mud season in Maine, but also I'm getting hopeful for spring. So I'm going to type in spring. Wow. Lots of different choices. So scrolling through, there are so many choices. I kind of want to narrow that down even more. So clicking on layout, nothing there, but we have styles here, nothing there. So we'll go back to templates. And this first one looks great, but I don't know if I want all of them. I might just want this one. Now you do have the option to apply all 11 pages so that it drops in a presentation for you, or you can just mix and match. I will warn you that when you are working with students in Canva slides and you assign a group presentation, they will likely all choose different templates. So it'll be a real mishmash of templates. It's a lot of fun because students can express their creativity, but just be aware and just be ready that that could happen. So I'm going to click this in here and you can see that that drops it right in. And it still maintains the other template pages that I've assigned to this presentation. So it really only affects that one page that I'm creating. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to jump ahead to design tips. So design tips, I'll move my face over here. Design tips come in handy when you're trying to tweak the background or change it so that you have a different color. You can click on that undo button and you can add slides to your presentation. So let's say that I wanted to kind of match this pink motif since I'm going for spring, and I wanted to change the background from blue to pink. To do that, I would simply highlight that background, click on background color, and then it pops up over here. So let's see, scrolling down, here are my default colors. I think this one probably works. There we go. So it kind of matches that template that I chose. Now, if I decide, ooh, that's actually too pink, that's Pepto-Bismol pink, I can click on the undo button and get it back to how it was. So always, you always have that option of changing the background to emphasize a slide or a worksheet or a PDF or a GIF, whatever you're creating. But then if you don't like it, you can click on that undo button. Okay. From here, we can add text. Now the text box is over here on the left-hand side. And by clicking on that, you have lots of different options that show up. If you know what font you're looking for, of course, you can click up here and search for that, or you can drop in these different text boxes. Once you type in something, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to type in example. You have your font and size kind of toolkit up top. So we'll highlight that and drop down all of these different fonts, and you can choose which one looks good to you. You can make that larger. You can change the color of it. You can make it a little more transparent. This is really cool for layering different objects and items. If you know that your students are coming in after lunch and they're exhausted and you want to add some text to catch their eye, you can animate that. So you can kind of do a little eye-popping animation with text too. So all of these really great options to jazz up your Canva presentation. And also, one of my favorite things about Canva is just scrolling down. You have all of these different font combinations that have already been created, and these are all editable. So if I wanted to change that around, you can just type in and it maintains that same font combination. It would be helpful if I spelled course correctly. Oh, so Canva crash course, but you have that really cool eye-catching font combination. So these are already pre-made for you, and definitely take advantage of those to really jazz up whatever you're creating. Okay, so we've got text, we have our template, we have our design tricks. Let's move on to a really cool feature where we can translate text. So this is kind of new within the past year or so, I believe, but it's a really, really helpful feature. So once you've typed something out, you can click on that and the text box above that we just explored will pop up, but also this tiny toolbox down here. So clicking on those three dots will bring up another menu, and all the way at the bottom, you'll see the option to translate text. So I'm going to click on translate text, and it's going to ask to clarify which block of text I'm going to translate. So that's the one I want, translate text. And then from here, I can go to translate to, and I can choose from one of these dozens of languages. This is so helpful if you are working with students who are learning English, or if you're contacting parents whose first language might not be English, if you're teaching French or Spanish, a really fantastic tool that can be used in so many different ways. So scrolling down, we are going to choose French and then click on translate. It's going to take a moment and then it is going to translate that text for you. So be sure to check out that feature if you haven't yet. Okay, so what would a slideshow or worksheet be without some fun images? The kids really love this feature in Canva. So clicking on elements will bring you to these different images that you can put into your presentation or your worksheet or whatever you're creating in Canva. And there's also the option to input polls and quizzes. So a really great way to take a presentation and make it interactive. So if you know what you're looking for, let's say I'm going to liven this up a little and add a palm tree. I can type in palm tree. I can narrow it down by doing graphics, or if I want it to look realistic, maybe I'll do photos, videos of it. You can do audio, frames. So choose what you're looking for. Let's say I want this one. All I have to do is click and it drops it right in. I can resize that. Maybe I want to put it on a tilt, whatever works. Now, Canva has a really robust photo and video editing toolbox, and we have included the free photo online editor here for you. I encourage you to take a look at that because that will walk you through and guide you through how to use the photo editor. The reason that my picture is here is because we wanted to illustrate how you can use the photo editor to do a background remover. So I grabbed this by uploading files and I uploaded a photo of myself here. Then I dragged it over and dropped it on here. And let's say that I want to use this as a headshot. I can click on that and then click on BG remover, and it actually removes all of the background from that. This is really cool because you can do this with photos and videos, meaning that you can have students record themselves right in Canva, and I would show you, but I can't do that because it gets kind of wonky with recording for the tutorial. But try it out. Click on record yourself, record a quick video, and then use that background remover. Then take what you just learned with those elements, find a different background, and drop it in behind. Works very similarly to a green screen. Really, really great option if you're having students create an informational product and they want to create an on-location video. Okay, now Canva has created some accessibility features, or they've included some ways that we can ensure that we have accessibility in our presentations. And it's really easy to make sure that everybody can access what we're creating in Canva. So once you've created your presentation or your worksheet, you'll want to click on File, and then Accessibility, and then check Design Accessibility. Depending on the size of your file, this could be really quick, or it might take a minute or two. But what it's doing is it's scanning your document or your presentation and evaluating whether or not it's accessible to people. Afterwards, it's going to give you suggestions and actually walk you through your presentation or your creation and help you to change it to make it more accessible. This is a really wonderful feature if you have students with IEPs who might need high contrast worksheets or visuals. So over here, we have typography. I have one suggestion where I need to make it larger so that people can see it. Color contrast. So I used white on light white, which, yep, really hard to see. So I can click on that and go back and make that change. Oh, there's 16 issues there actually. And then alternative text. So I have a lot of photos in here that don't have alternative text that I could go back and tag with alternative text. Really, really helpful tool to make sure that students and viewers can really engage with what we're creating. So be sure to check out those accessibility features. Okay, so we worked really hard. We've put in some really great text boxes. We've uploaded photos and removed that background. We've put in different elements that we think that our students or our audience are going to love. And we've really spent a lot of time creating something. Now it's time to share. You have some options. You can click on present. And if you are presenting your presentation, you can click here and simply present it and broadcast it. One feature of Canva that I love is the present and record option. So clicking on here actually lets you do what I'm doing right now, basically. Present your presentation and record it. I've used this in my classroom to present lessons and record them on days when I know that I'm going to have a sub. So it's like leaving a lesson that has already been created and delivered to students. My sub went in and just pressed play, and my students were able to see me on screen walking them through a lesson. Really great option for us as educators. It's also a great option for students. How cool would it be to have a student create a presentation slideshow and then present it to us as we record it? You could send it home to the student's family and they would be able to see what that student is working on in class. So something to keep in mind with as our comfort levels get a little higher with Canva and we feel more comfortable using it with our students in the classroom. Clicking on share, you also have several different options for how you can share your presentation or your document. If you are adding a collaborator to this, somebody who can edit, it works similarly to Google Docs. So you want to click on here and then enter that person's name or their email address. Then you can set the level of permissions that you want to give to them. Do you want them to be an editor, a viewer, or just having view-only privileges? So you can share, you can choose who you want to share it with and how you want to share it with them. You can also download your creations. You can create a public view link. So this publishes it to the internet, and then that public view link, you can grab that and share that. Super helpful if you're creating a newsletter and you want families to view that online. Please be aware though that once you publish that, it will update with any changes that you make, but you can't unpublish it. So you want to make sure that what you're publishing is okay to be on the internet. You can present it, you can embed it within another slideshow or another document by clicking here and grabbing that code. You can send it to your Google Classroom. Helpful if you are using Google Classroom with your students. By clicking on See More, we have even more ways. You can grab a QR code if your students have iPads and they need to scan a QR code to access this. You can download it as a Microsoft PowerPoint, drop it into Google Drive. And even further down here, here's your Google Classroom, and here's your assign option. So once you're feeling comfortable and you've imported your students into Canva, or you've started to use it with them if your district has already rolled them over into Canva, this is how you can create an assignment and then just simply assign it to your student. Okay, so now that we've given you the basics, oh, I forgot one of the other really cool things. Sorry about that. So presentation tips. If you are presenting, there's some really cool keystrokes that you can use to kind of elevate your presentation. So by clicking on B, it blurs the screen. Really great for calling attention to what you're saying or redirecting focus for your students. By clicking on C, you have confetti. So a great way, again, to get students' attention or to celebrate something in the classroom. If you're announcing something, you can click on D for drum roll. To get your class's attention, you can click on Q for quiet. As a librarian, I approve of that. That is librarian approved. You can also start a timer. So just by clicking on 4 or whatever number, you can have this timer up here, and you can even set some music so that students hear that music. And then you can set an alarm to have them come back together. So be sure to try those out. They've been put in here to really help us as presenters and educators, and they're super helpful. You also have the option of creating notes for yourself. And then when you click on present, you can have it present in presenter mode. So you can have those notes projected on your screen so that you can see what is coming up next and keep track of your presentation. Okay, so now that we've given you the basic skills in Canva, in that presentation, there is a practice tutorial. This should take you a couple of minutes, but we'll walk you through and prompt you through those different skills that I just explained. Please pause this video and take a couple of minutes to try that out. When you're done, please come back and resume this video. Hopefully that tutorial was helpful in guiding you through using the different tools that are available to you within Canva. Now it's time for our creation time. We encourage you to create a presentation, and we chose this because we felt like that was something universal to educators at all grade levels and all content areas. Feel free to use this time to create something that you would like to, though. If you don't want to create a presentation, choose something that you would like to create. I'm going to have you pause this video and spend about 10 or 15 minutes creating your presentation or whatever you choose. If you have this slideshow open, there are some different options that you can use, so be sure to dive into that. So you can try it, you can explore the basics, or you can go even deeper, do more. Once you're finished with your creation time, please come back and we'll wrap up this PD session. Great job. Hopefully you use those tools to create something that is meaningful and helpful to you in Canva. At the end of the presentation that we shared, there are many more resources that we encourage you to take a look at. We've compiled these knowing that you are teachers in the field, and hopefully some of these will be helpful to you. If you need support or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and Stephanie. We would love to support you in your Canva exploration. This is one example of how the MLTI team can support your professional development. For even more options, please take a look at this brochure. This is a list of the current offerings that our team provides. If you don't see something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to us and we can tailor a PD session to your school's needs. And now that you've made it through, make sure that you scroll all the way to the end of the Canva presentation and grab your certificate.